Hello and welcome to the ZoShow. I am your guest on a weekly basis. My name is Satish. Welcome to this week's episode. My guest this week is someone who I've known for, I feel like I've known him forever actually. And it's going to be a bit more amusing than before, I think, because I've known him for such a long time. He's currently sat opposite me, trying to make me laugh, which I think he's succeeding with. And as I said, this show is all about inspiration. It's all about providing people with useful tips, guidance, inspiration, things that people can use.
I thought I could term this for you. Yeah, a Z-tip.
A Z-tip. Oh, I love that. I love that, guy. I think this is already kind of framing what the show, how the show might turn out to be, actually. But my guest for this evening, he is such a close friend of mine. Consider him a brother, pretty much. Known him for 24 years. 4 years, honestly. Just over 24 years. Since school years, kept in touch with them all the way through.
Before
since
you had a
then,
beard. Have you ever sinned on
everything, honestly. I think I will actually put a picture out at some point of me without a beard. Probably not since school days, really. But Satish.
Oh, uni days when he was known as Sid.
Yes, that's what we used to call
There's
me.
another
Sid.
story.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
Sid.
See, there's so many things that are going to come out of this, honestly. But
that's a nice T-shirt, Sid.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Or Sid, different things. But
down to a T.
Yeah, that's the one. See, he knows everything about me. Honestly, he's going to reveal all my secrets. But Satish, Baji, how are you doing?
I'm good, Baj. Yeah, thank you very much. Please call me Danny.
Yeah, Danny. Oh, yeah. So he also goes by the alias of Danny.
But Satish is fine too.
But Satish is okay too. That's what I know him as anyway. But why don't you tell the viewers just a little bit about yourself before we get going?
Okay, my friend. Well, I say friend. I started off by calling him brother, friend, interchangeable sometimes. So who am I? I am currently an IT consultant. I've tried to start up my own business, but I have ADHD. So when you start something, you don't often finish for a year or two. I'll get back around to that at some point. Started off in bar work, went to retail, started off in sales, actually, in retail, bar work, retail, other things peppered here along the way. Even did a Guy Ritchie movie called Aladdin. Don't know if you've heard of it or seen it. And now an IT consultant and pretty excited, actually. It's a really good role. Oh, and now I'm a guest on the ZoShow.
He is, honestly, and it's the first time that he's been on. Can you believe it? I've had this show for a few years now, different platforms. But he was too busy for me, honestly. He kept popping me off, and I finally managed to catch him. Had to approach his agent, and who allowed him to come on. Finally, honestly, thank you so much. But that's just.
Do you know what I've noticed?
Feels weird, right? Honestly. Yeah.
I was listening to the show, the previous episodes. Check them out, very good, by the way. And then I thought, I didn't realize it before, but us going to the same school, we ended up sounding very similar. Yeah. Speaking very similar, because I was brought up in Handsworth. And in Handsworth, you do talk slang. I grew up in the era where we were using patois too. So my accent wasn't like this before school. And then we went to school and our accent changed. It's weird.
Yeah. And it's weird because, I think it's...
Thank me smiles for that.
Yeah, but yes, yeah.
Always listen to the
teacher. We're acknowledging all our old teachers here and all the people that
Mrs. Thomas,
made a
French.
Difference. Yeah.
Bonjour, bonsoir, bonne nuit.
Yeah.
Au revoir.
Do you know what was funny yesterday? I was doing a bit of cleaning up, and I found in my cupboard somewhere, I found like an autograph book that was from when I left school, when I left Handsworth Grammar.
Yeah, an autograph book.
When we all left, everyone signed. People sign your shirts and whatever.
Mine. I didn't have an autograph.
You weren't there. You left after year 11.
Oh, yeah.
But, it was funny so my missus saw it and she was like, who's Dr. Sagar? She goes, what's this about? She goes, why does it say share electrons in capital letters? And I was like, you see, and I said to my missus, that's the only thing that I will ever remember about chemistry because of how memorable the way he explained it.
Oh, it's great. I mean, he was never my teacher. I didn't do chemistry with him, but he was a good guy.
He was a good guy, actually.
Made a big impression on you guys.
Yeah. And if he's listening, if anyone knows who I'm talking about, honestly,
please get in touch with the show.
Please get in touch.
Host.
I'd love to have him as a guest again, honestly, and he could talk and he could explain the theory of covalent bonding again.
Not relativity.
I
don't think he knows that one.
Yeah. But I would love for him to come on the show again.
Hubbard did physics.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're digressing.
We are digressing, but this is memories.
One other thing. We just said prior to the show even starting how this is such an interesting interaction, us being here today, because Zoe actually featured on my show when I was a radio host over 10 years ago now.
2009.
And now I'm a guest on his show.
2009 on Keel Radio.
Cube Radio.
Cube Radio in Keel. Cube Radio. I remember it was me and Ravi. Again, good friend of ours, Ravi Sandhu. And I remember you called us in to the studio and everything. And
please come in, take a seat over here. Yes.
And what I remember was actually,
would you like some drink, which I never received today? Thank you very much.
I was really, it's being made. It's being made. The kettle's on, But I remember we were in the studio, and I think I was actually quite dignified, and I knew what I was doing. But Ravi was just like, I don't think he quite understood the kind of the premise of radio. And
he did it for me, in all honesty. But hey, guess what, guys? You thought you were going to learn about me today. You're going to be learning about this guy.
It's my show,
it's a special episode.
Yeah, it is. You see, it's about me, but it's usually about the guest. So I think they should learn more about you. You know what I mean? But if anything comes out about me,
where did it all begin? It began on a trip to Bruges.
Oh yeah.
Me and Zoe's friendship.
I don't think any school would ever do that again. I'm pretty sure I've never heard a trip like that again. Yeah. Bruges and Calais, wasn't it?
Calais, went through Calais on a coach from Handsworth all the way to Bruges. Not even for very long, right? It was a 24 or 36 hour trip.
24-hour trip. Yeah. Probably a little bit longer, I reckon. But
you know what? From school, from when we met and how we've turned out, we've got an interesting journey.
Yeah, it is. And I actually think when I reconnect with anyone on social media who went to school, or I think I'm still in touch with quite a few people from school, and you think about what people have gone through, what in terms of like what people's vocational aspirations were, or what you thought they might go into, and what they're doing now. It's interesting, and there's so many people that now think, oh, I thought he'd go into this, but actually he's working for this company, which is absolutely fine, by the way.
So for all of our listeners out there from different age groups, you'll find something of benefit in this entire conversation now. So stay tuned in. We're going to go through the years from secondary school to thinking about where we wanted to end up, going through the life journey, and then discussing how we ended up right here where we are today. So it's a bit of something for everyone, for the parents, for the children, even for the grandparents if they want to reminisce, if they've been through what we've been through. So fantastic. Now, over to you, Zoe.
I forgot it's my show, honestly. But you're right though. It's like, and I suppose as much as we're sort of joking around and whatever, having a laugh, I think there is a slightly serious side to it in the sense of you think about from school. I mean, let me put the question to you. Do you think from school and the kind of the subjects that you're interested in and what you thought you might be doing from school, and they ask you, what you're going to grow up to be, do you ever think like back then, oh yeah, I'd followed it through, or do you think actually it was just a starting point?
Now, this is a perfect question that I'd like for you to answer too, but I'll give you the answer, my answer. So, one of the strongest memory I'll start off with, as I go through this journey now, is me and Zoe sitting in maths next to each other, trying to be taught maths by our teacher, fantastic teacher. Do you remember her name? Walcott?
Walcott? Mrs. Walcott.
Fantastic teacher. So we would often sit down, make music playlists, talk Michael Jackson, talk Korn.
The rock band, by the way.
The rock band,
not like Korn,
not Korn on the feet, or Korn Cobs or anything. KFC. Very nice though. And so we would do that, and we would pay attention. But as Zoe alluded to, people had different strengths in terms of their ability, right? And for me, I was very distracted. And why I bring up the fact that I was distracted was because I didn't know I had learning disabilities at the time. So I later found out I had dyspraxia and ADHD. And with ADHD, there's 3 different types. We've got hyperactive, and I think the opposite to that is underactive, but I keep forgetting that one. Then the middle is combined. So with combined, you can be hyperactive or you can be underactive, or a combination of the two. So during that time, I used to daydream quite a bit. I couldn't keep my focus in class. I used to struggle quite a bit, and I didn't realize why at the time. So I would never really do well at school. I'd always struggle with revision, and with exams, I would just about get by. And over my lifetime, I've done hundreds of exams because I've had hundreds of resits. And I might come back to this later, but normally you start university at 18 and you leave by 21. I started university when I was 19 or 20, and I left when I was 26. So there's something we may touch on that, touch in regards to that later, and especially around neurodiversity, which is really important in this day and age. So in our school years, I don't believe our teachers had the right training to pick up on what the signs were of neurodiversity, how best a student learns, and whether that's the conventional theoretical route or whether that would be a visual route, whether they're visual learners. There was just one standard, and you had to get by. You had to, no matter what, you had to get by. And what happens is with some people with disabilities, they tend to compensate for their disabilities, and they figure out another way of achieving something similar to what their friends are achieving. But when I was back at school, I always used to look around and think, how come some of the kids are doing so well and getting A's and A stars, and I'm struggling to get a B? I'm getting a C at best. How are they doing it? They'd be at school. They'd be playing football, playing in class. They might even be talking. They wouldn't even be, head down, focused. Don't talk to me. I'm studying here. They wouldn't be like that, right? They'd be similar to what we used to do. But then they do the homework, come back, they'd get an A or an A star. And I thought, how did they do it? I didn't get it. Now I realize it's a natural ability that we have. We all have our own natural gifts. But listeners, it's really important for you as students or you as parents or influential people to be mindful that different people have different abilities, and it's up to us to recognize what those abilities are and to utilize the strengths from that, identify the weaknesses, and realize how do we work around the weaknesses. What tools or skills do we need to be on par with others or to excel in life in general? So over to you now, Soba.
Very profound, honestly. I don't think I've ever heard you speak so inspiringly, honestly.
Right.
I
was speaking a moment ago.
I was waiting for the punchline here, honestly. I was thinking, right now.
I failed.
Give us the joke. Yeah, give us the joke now.
And then I succeeded.
I was just waiting for something to be said. But it is true, and I think it's funny, how all those years ago, like I said, we do different subjects, we have different ways of being taught, and our peer groups or the classes we get put in and stuff. Do you sometimes think that? Do you sometimes think that, looking back now as children, whether it was us or even now, do you think there's a lot of pressure that's placed on kids at school to, let's say, be definitive about what career they're going to have? So
it's funny you should say that, because one person comes to mind. I don't want to mention his name, but I believe this child at the time didn't have much access to a TV. I don't think they were allowed to, or that they had a TV in their home. So for them, the emphasis was on just doing well at school and trying to become, a doctor or something in that vein. Now, to their credit, they have become a doctor, and a very good doctor too. But I can't dismiss. I don't think it will be viewed as pressure on a child. I think it was just the way things were back in the 90s. The expectation was that your parents want you to do well, and you try to do the best that you can. And I think we had pressures in terms of examinations, but that pressure at home was just a part of our lives, and so we were just used to it. It wasn't this thing that was stressing us out. I think the only thing that was stressing me out was school and not doing well. I think when I came, but interestingly enough, my personal situation was my parents were very hands off. My dad made it known that he wanted me to do well, and the family made it known they wanted me to do well when I was doing my the 11 plus exams here in the UK. But then it was all kind of a case of it being left to me. So it was left to me to figure out how I needed to do it and to get it done. So everyone's situation is different. I mean, what was your situation?
Yeah, no, I find that, they ask you all these things about what you want to be, like when you want to grow up. And I get that there's this element of aspiration, and they want you to think about where you want to go in life, and it's a form of goal setting in a way, which I completely see. I just sometimes find that it's like kids now. I don't know if it's now or even back then, but it's almost like they want you to think about the future, but there should be a focus on how kids learn and develop best as well. You know, because if you've got 26 people in a class, I'm just thinking going back to the school days now. If you've got 26 people in one class, they're not all going to learn and develop in the same way. They're going to engage with lessons in a different way. You know, we all get put into different math sets. You know, clearly ours wasn't high or low. You know what I mean? We were just in this middle set, which I always found funny. It was a brilliant set. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I sometimes think like you're placing people into sets. And can you imagine as a child, if you were in the lowest set, would that child think, "Oh, I'm really bad at maths"?
If the educational institution is still the same as it was then, as it is now, right? It's not good. It really isn't good. It's not conducive to helping get the best out of the students, out of the children, to do well in life. It's not, and it's up to us as now the older generation to try and help support others, to give them the support that they're looking for, that they need. Right? I think through that, which is one of the best things about this show. So this show is here to inspire, to share words of wisdom. And I think that's fantastic. And then there's so much that we can share, and hopefully others can gain from and utilize in their own lives. And I think this is a fantastic platform and show, though.
Yeah. So, thank you.
And to all the guests, past and future, please do share as much as you can, because we're listening and we want to learn.
I gave you some nice shiny notes to say that. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Hopefully, you can't see it on screen, but 24 years of knowing each other, and it's like, you think about everything that we've been through. And I was thinking about your own journey in the sense that, like, now, like,
So by the way, one sec.
You're gone.
I made him wait 3 seconds. Just saying. No, but you said
that's a good trick.
That's a question.
Good pause and effect.
Pause for dramatic effect.
Yeah, pause for dramatic effect. I was going to say that worked very well.
You asked a question earlier that we didn't even touch on, and I think it's good. It's a good time for us to fast track a little bit. What did you want to be when you were at school? What did you think you would be?
What did I think I would be?
Yeah.
I don't know. What I do remember is when we had this, I think we did an exercise. I think when we were in year 7 or 8 or something. And I think what happened was at the end of it said policeman.
Oh yeah.
I still remember that. And I remember thinking policeman, but then I thought, actually, do you know what? It's a pretty solid career choice in the sense that.
Here.
Yeah, I could have done. Yeah, I could have done. Absolutely.
Check back at the previous episode.
From 2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago.
Yeah, episode 6. Valley here. So, but yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, how they can have all these kind of forms that they give you and questionnaires.
Yeah.
That's the word.
In the day.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, this is what you your predetermined career, for example, is what they should call it.
So. That was so helpful, and I tell you why that was so helpful. So we had this thing called Connections, right? It was a computer package software which says, okay, what do you like? You like to talk to people, okay? You like to do schoolwork. I'm sorry. And then, okay, you should be a solicitor. You'd be great at being a solicitor. Do not work in the council. That would be not good. However, that for me got my mind ticking, and I started thinking, okay, so think about what I'm interested in. Maybe have that guide me towards a career path, right? So at the time, I was thinking mad scientist. I used to watch Back to the Future. And Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, science sounds good, but it gets your mind working in a different way, right? And one thing I tell my cousins and my nephew and niece is think about what you want to be. And then that kind of helps you to focus a little bit on where to put your effort in when you're at school.
Yeah.
Or look at university courses or college courses. What do they need you to meet as an entrance criteria? Is that what you want to do? Is that what you like to do? Great, go for it. You don't like maths, but yet you want to do something that needs maths? Think again. Or think about tuition. It does really make a difference. Really
but that's changed now, isn't it? Do you not think like now you can do, when I say change, like, now it's almost like you can do things without having to go through. I'm not trying to put off education, by the way. You can do things without having to go through that whole process of I'm thinking now like social media. If you look at influencers, YouTubers, TikTokers, whatever you want to call it. Like now, it's almost like kids now are trying to fast track that journey. Yeah.
So what they figured out is the world doesn't work the way you're taught it works when you're at school. And that's very good that they figured that out, that you are masters of your own destiny. Just do it. Try it. If you fail, learn from it. Give it another go. Someone said something that I caught on LinkedIn, which was their mom's advice to them was everything's feasible. I think that's what she's called it. Maybe it was a different word. Figure outable. Everything is figure outable. You want to try it, do it. Now, with my personal experience, fast tracking a bit more, how did I become an IT consultant? I went onto YouTube. I taught myself SQL. I didn't have to get a qualification. I got a third at university. I was so happy with that because it took me 6 years to get it. And I thought, I want to get into data. I was currently working as a business support officer in a council. And I thought, I don't want to work in admin. That's not what I aspired to be. Let me teach myself a skill. Did it. It doesn't have to take me long. It took me a few days. Applied for a job, passed the interview, got work as a data migration analyst. And then within 5 years, I became an IT consultant. Yeah. And that's just to your credit, to your point. And what's fantastic to hear is, yes, more and more people are doing that. That can be achieved. That can be done. The time of academic achievements over experience is now changed. It's experience and it's about proving what you can do. So when I was venturing into the media industry recently, what I learned was if you want a job, prove that you can do it. And if you prove that you can do it, you'll get the job, pretty much. Because the media industry is very risk adverse. They want guaranteed wins. They don't want someone that will fail. I say that with caveats, but that's just my personal experience. And that goes for life too. Everybody who wants to find someone, if you were a business person and you wanted to find someone, you want to find someone that you know is not going to fail and they're going to succeed, right? So prove to them that you can do it.
Yeah. And it's like, it's interesting looking at, like I said, the differences between when we went through education and whatnot. And one thing I want to pick up on. I know, exactly. No, I do think, honestly, I do think now kids have it slightly, I don't want to use the word easier, but the opportunities young people or sort of even, teens have now for that professional development or academic growth is a lot different to what we had. But picking up on your point about you spent all those years, studying for your job now, you're successful, you've got a family and everything as well. You know what I mean? It's like, if I can just pick up on a little bit about, because you left school at year 11, you went to college.
I left school and failed half my GCSEs.
Yeah.
We took 13 GCSEs.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I only got 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But was it, so for anyone listening now thinking I'm doing GCSEs or, my child's studying GCSEs or whatever, what was that feeling of when you got the GCSEs? Did you think doom and gloom or did you think reset, start again?
I thought, no, what have I done?
Seriously, yeah.
No, so the situation for me is a bit different. I applied to, two answers. Situation for me, I was fortunate. I applied for some colleges before I got my GCSEs and they provisionally accepted me because I was predicted 10 to 13 GCSEs at C to B. And then when I got the 6 that I did, my college still accepted me, which was fantastic. So I still got onto my A-levels. However, that was the first answer. That's how it happened to me. And then I struggled at college for 4 years. However, I took 1 year out, actually. I became a manager of a retail store at 16. That's another story. Or maybe it's work. Anyway, ADHD again. So, when I saw the results, at the time, I didn't have anyone to give me that sense of comfort, which you could probably get from shows like this now, that things will still be okay. You'll still be okay. You can still do well in life. It just means you might have to deviate from the conventional path. And what I realized actually, so Zoe asked me a few weeks ago when we were discussing prior to discussing the show actually, he was like, how did you get to where you're at? Because I remember back then, this is where you're at. How did you now get to this where I'm blessed. I have a car, 2 cars, I have a house, I have 2 children, I got married. the year I graduated, the month after I graduated. He said, how did you do it? Okay. So it comes down to deviating. And I would say if you don't get your GCSEs, don't worry. Just look at your options and think, okay, what do I want to do next? For me, it was GCSEs. You could leave school at 16, right? Now you have to leave school at 18. So for the modern child, you fail your GCSEs again. That's all right. You've done it. You've done your best, or it didn't work out. What options do I have available to me now? Explore them. What works according to your strengths and your weaknesses? Find out who you are. Find out if you've given it your best shot, or if you felt like you've been held back because there's something holding you back, but you just don't know what it is. Explore it. Find out what it is. See if it is a neurodiverse condition, which is also a learning disability. See if it was something else, which requires, maybe speaking to someone, speaking to a mentor, speaking to a therapist. I started having therapy at the age of 16 or 17, I think. And, sometimes that helps too. So experiment. And then once you've identified what that second stage of your life is, a second step, if it's college, apprenticeship, something else, then give it a go. And if, again, do your best. And if it doesn't work, then repeat that process. Why didn't it work this time around? When you get to 18, the new doors open up, right? Should I stay in education or should I go into the world of work? And the fortunate thing is we're blessed, because if we go into the world of work, we can do as an apprentice. It doesn't have to just be as someone without qualifications in a job that you don't want to do. You can still do the job that you want to do. We live in such a colorful world right now where there's so much opportunity. It's just a case of, and we have internet resources available to us. It's a case of finding where those opportunities are. And if there isn't any opportunities, creating them. So when I say creating opportunities, so you created down to a T. Right. And I bring this up because it was a fantastic venture.
Reminiscing. Yeah.
And, you didn't decide to continue it in the end, but then look how things went for you and look at where you're at right now.
Yeah.
So how did you end up doing down to a T? How did that come into your life?
I think the thing is, if I look at what I was interested in from school, graphic design, art and design and stuff, and look at the fact that, as when I was growing up, I was like, I like to wear t-shirts with certain motifs or designs on them. And then when I left uni, I was like, I like designing this sort of stuff, because I used to print stuff at uni, or I used to make my own t-shirts and everything. And then I thought, right, I'm going to start designing and selling my own artwork.
Well, why was that though? Was that because you couldn't find a job in design, or was it because you just thought there's no one doing what I want to do and I want to try it out?
It was because it was a passion. It was something that filled me with kind of like, I suppose, satisfaction. And I was like, right, I want to start designing stuff, and I can wear this stuff, but what if other people start liking the designs I'm doing and they want to start wearing it?
Very good.
So you're an extension of the brand, really, and I suppose, like, if you think about it from a business point of view, anybody who wears a certain piece of clothing or a brand or whatever, like the biggest brands out there, you're an ambassador for all those brands. And then anybody who wears that t-shirt or design, I was thinking, okay, they clearly like what I'm doing, or they wanted custom prints and they wanted me to design something unique for them. So, but yeah, the journey that's taken is interesting, because like, I feel like throughout my career, I've always tried to create something. I haven't blamed it on opportunities or circumstances. Sorry. I haven't blamed it on circumstances. Well, right? Yeah. I think the opportunities are things that I've proactively gone and found. Yeah. And I feel like I said, it's not always a linear path, is what I'm trying to say. I think there is no linear path. The summary of this is that you think that in school you're gonna end up doing one thing, and okay, yeah, if you want to go and work in the medical field, the legal field, whatever field it is, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think the path is never linear anyway. No, do you know what I mean? It never is.
And I think it's not meant to be. No, because we're a community of individuals. We all contribute something to our community. If we were all the same, we wouldn't have a community.
It'd be too easy.
Well, what would we do? We'd all become solicitors and do what?
Yeah.
We'd all become doctors and do what?
Yeah.
We it's nice to be different.
Yeah. But if you followed a template, and like I said, like, this is where I think sometimes, like, I've got nephews and cousins now, like, who, same thing, they're in school, or, they're in sort of like, or, they're just starting school, and I would love to give that advice to them and say, you know what, don't expect things to go as rosy as you might think. You know, the advice that my dad used to give me was take the rough with the smooth. Like, you're not always going to get, so, you know, you won't always go the way that you think it's going to go. And it's absolutely true, you know, and
you should get your dad on the show.
Honestly, yeah. Do you know what? It'd be a good one. No, we forget sometimes the wisdom that you get from parents, from family, from other close friends or whatever. You know, even your teachers or managers at work or whatever. I think it all plays a big part of it. But what we're going to do is we're just going to, before we go on to the next part, we're going to take a very short break, and then we'll come back, and then. I mean, I feel like this is free flowing anyway. Do you know what I mean? And we haven't planned any of this discussion. Not that the other episodes are overly planned, but we're going to go a little bit more deeper into this. You can't do the notes, honestly. Yeah. There you go. Look at all the notes I've been taking. No, not really. But we'll take a very short break, and then we'll be back for part 2 of the ZoShow. Hello guys, welcome back to part 2 of the ZoShow with
gentlemen and ladies, not just guys.
Gentlemen and ladies, there you go. See, I keep getting,
what's the matter with you?
Getting corrected. So part 2 here with long-time friend and brother Satish Paul. We had such a good conversation in the first half. I feel like this half is only going to get better.
And how do you make things better? You pepper in a bit of music. A bit of music. So I was just asking Zoe off camera, what is your favorite song by Michael Jackson? And he said, oh, hang on, can you guess what it is? It's Smooth Criminal.
Yeah, it is Smooth Criminal. And you know the reason why it's Smooth Criminal is because his film Moonwalker was released in 1988, and that's the year I was born.
Oh, Moonwalker.
So I always attach myself to Smooth Criminal, because I remember just watching Moonwalker thinking, and then at the end of that film is the massive scene, and then that's Smooth Criminal. And I just remember as a child thinking, wow, this is incredible.
You've been touched by a smooth criminal.
His singing's better than mine. I'm not going to try that. But
one more thing.
Yeah.
When I saw Moonwalker for the first time, right, Michael Jackson goes next to a wall, right? I think the little girl's just been taken.
Kidnapped, yeah.
Yeah. And then he stands next to the wall and he's like, oh, what do I do? And he's like, I know. I'll transform into a car. Mm-hmm. And then he goes down onto his knees and he turns into a car in the shadows, right? And I always thought, oh my gosh, I can turn into a car?
Yeah.
So I tried it all the time, and I never turned into a car.
It's a pretty ridiculous film sometimes. If you look at Moonwalker now, when I watch it now, I think, wow, like,
I love that movie.
Then you think like, oh, it's incredible. You know what I mean? And, it is still impressive in the sense of, you think about how someone like that influenced the world and made a film out of them. They made a film out of him, and yet he still continued his career for so many years, and he's still spoken about now as we're demonstrating.
Just say something interesting.
Yeah, go on.
Today's date. I'm not going to tell you the date because it might ruin the whole image of the episode. But we're in 2023. Taylor Swift has just released a show movie in the cinemas. And in a weekend, she's beaten the box office for the entire run of Blue Beetle, from what I heard, right? The reason I bring that up now is because Moonwalk was kind of a mix between Michael Jackson's performances on stage and then a bit of a storyline here and there. And Taylor Swift has kind of done the same thing, but just straight up show. And she's made a movie out of it, and she's cracked like 100 million on a 15 million pound dollar budget. And I just thought, wow. Yeah. We're in an age where that's possible now. That's incredible.
Yeah. I suppose Michael Jackson was the pioneer of that. Isn't it funny how pop culture, I think about...
And it was his feud with Prince, because when Michael Jackson did it, Prince did it.
That's right.
No. Well, did Prince do it first with Purple Rain, and then Michael Jackson did it?
I'm not sure, actually. I don't know who was first, yeah. But I feel like pop culture plays such a big part, doesn't it? I remember I can't believe we're sharing this, but well, let's share it anyway. The lunchtime wrestling sessions we used to have. So we used to put, I really hope no kids are listening to this. You know what I mean? But we used to put all the tables to one side. We used to make a ring out. We used to make a ring out of the table, and then we used to pretend to be Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Someone would be Triple H, someone would be Bret Hart or whatever it was. Wow. They were crazy days.
They were
honestly.
Good days. And these days, it's hard to find a wrestling fan, I think.
Yeah.
Back then, we were all fans.
Yeah. Well, now it's just all social media driven. Well, they're all film stars now. The ones that we used to idolize, they're all film stars.
And this man here, he was like Jackie Chan. No, he was like Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
His hands could move so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I just did it now, but you didn't see it on the camera. Do you know what I mean? So turn the speed down to 0.25.
We thought we were in the Matrix.
And then you might see it.
I used to do the blocking. And we're like, we can't see our hands anymore. Yeah. This is amazing.
Yeah, we just slow it down a lot, and then you might see it. But they kind of
rewatch this episode to see his hands moving.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I might give a demo at the end. But Isn't it interesting how that's the stuff from school that we remember, the good times and that togetherness that we had, with people that we're still in touch with, we've got a group WhatsApp, haven't we, of friends and, we sort of, whenever we catch up again, we talk about the old times and everything. And, but just moving a little bit into, we spoke before about school, career, that sort of stuff. And one thing I wanted to talk about was that we were having a little chat in the break, weren't we? And we were saying about how you're now a married man. You've got a lovely wife, 2 wonderful kids. There you go. You're taken. So am I as well. Sorry, but
return my back by 9 p.m.
That's it. I've already had that message. But isn't it funny how, you said earlier on, you mentioned that you finished uni, then you got married.
Yeah.
And then you've gone into the IT industry. You've studied something, pursued it, and gone into it. Now, a lot of people might think that when they get married, they might just want to stay, not comfortable, but they might just think, well, I'm married now, and that's it. I don't have time, or it's too late now. And you were saying you hate that phrase when people say, I don't have time.
I get it. We get it. We're all busy. There's always something we all could be doing, and resting is really important too. But if you want to do something, you've got to make time to do it, right? So the example I want to share with you is, so if I rehash a bit of what we did in part 1, 6 years at university, I was thinking, God, please let me pass this. Please let me get out of here. I love the place, but I really wanted to leave the place. 6 years in one university, long time. And it was campus-based, but I love it. Anyway, so when I graduated and they said, yes, you have passed, I thought, oh my days. I honestly, I felt this is one of the best times of my life. I can't believe I've actually passed, because I used to spend nights and days in the library. I even stayed in my car once. I slept overnight in my car because I wanted to stay at the library to prepare for an exam. It was so hard for me. I was still learning about my disability, but I did everything I could and I got a 3rd, right? I went to a university in a time where if students got a 3rd or a 2-2, they wouldn't attend their graduation because they didn't think of themselves as being successful or having passed. And to all the listeners out there, it's not about the grade that you get. It's about what you do in life. It's about what you do with your skills that you've achieved, that you've gained, that you've grown, the network that you've grown, the people, your friends. It's about your life experience. Please don't ever put yourself down or think you're a failure just because you've not got a good grade. It's far from the truth. It's about you as a person, and it's about just going out there, giving things a go. Okay? Z-tip number 2, I think. Give it a go. Maybe that's the same as Z-tip 1, actually. Anyway, so basically, all right. So they said, all right, you've got a 3rd. I said, yes, I'm over the moon. I gave a nice little fist bump at my graduation into the air or whatever it's called. I was elated. And one of my teachers were like, well done. I saw you here a number of years ago and now you finally made it. Well done. And then I thought, okay, what do I do? So I think I went into a job in retail because I needed to save up money to buy a ring for my lady and for the marriage. And so I went into a 0-hour contract working for a well-known retail brand. And you have to make the best out of your situation, right? So it's not about not getting to become a doctor straight away. No, it's about, or not becoming an IT consultant straight away, right? For my situation, or a successful business person. It's about developing the right behavioral traits, the right strength within inside you, the confidence, the skill set over time to get to where you want to be. So retail, what can you learn in retail in a 0-hour contract? You worked in Primark. What can you gain? It turns out you can gain quite a lot. You learn how to communication skills with customers. You learn how to problem solve. You learn how to manage conflicts when you have aggressive behavior in front of you. You learn so much things, and these things are so helpful for your whole life.
Yeah.
They're life skills, these things are. And in terms of progression, it's about how much effort you put in and recognizing, Z-tip number 3, recognizing how far you can go in an organization. If I work in this and this is something my college, one of my professors, tutor said to me actually. He said there's a difference between a person that works the same job for 20 years and a person that works 20 different jobs in 20 years or 1 year. Something like that. I've got a bad memory. The point that he was trying to make is don't be stuck in a position where you're repeating. You're repeating the work. You're not growing. You're not doing anything. You can't progress. You can't get further. Put yourself into a situation where you can and push yourself. And now one thing I learned, Z-tip number 4, last one, is you're always learning in life, right? Some children, some kids, some adults burn their books when they, excuse me for a moment, they do burn their books when they leave school or college or university. They think, great, never going to need to pick up a book again or study. I'm done. But that's not true at all. To be successful in life, you have to have the mindset of, I'm always going to be learning. I'm happy to be learning. I need to learn. I want to learn. This is what's involved in becoming successful in life. Yeah. That's one of the hard truths one of the best truths I learned, I think at university or just after when I started work. Yeah. And then it was like a light bulb moment whereby I thought, oh, okay, so if I want to be learning for the rest of my life, I accept it now. I'm not going to be one of those, when we're children at school, sometimes you fight the establishment, you fight the fact that you have to study because that's all you've ever known. You want to escape the education system, right? So you think, I don't want to study no more. But when you realize, you actually got to study the whole of your life, that's just normal and that's good. And I felt different when I heard that. Yeah. It's a case of acceptance.
But isn't that youth? You know what you're talking about, where you say kids burn their books after finishing school or exams or whatever. As you grow up, I mean, at that point when you're at school, you don't know that then, like that you're going to be learning, that you need to keep learning. No, so it's almost like the point. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. But I wish someone tells the children at school that you always learn in life. Because then I think your perception of life, your perception of yourself, perception and understanding is so powerful in life. So powerful to help you to get to the next step. But then going to retail and working hard allowed me to grab opportunities and to create opportunities, right? You have to be bold, a bit audacious, but be bold. Give yourself respect and love, and think of yourself in a way where you can achieve, you can do it if you want to do it. So when I started in sales at this retail store, I went for a promotion. I think within 2 months of joining the place as a sales assistant, and they said to me, "No, I didn't get it," but it led on to great things. So they said to me, some other people said to me, "Why are you going for a promotion? You just joined. You're a salesperson. This person here has been with the company for like years. This person here nearly got the supervisor job last time. You haven't got a chance." And I said, "No, I don't have a chance, but what if? What if I get it? And if I don't get it, I'll be learning something along the way. I'll be learning what it takes to be a supervisor. I'll be learning about the interview process. My manager will know that I've got an interest in this thing, and they will support me differently." And that's what happened. I didn't get the job, but my manager said, "Look, I'll help you. And also, if you're interested in opportunities, go to our shared calendar, a shared inbox in our emails. There's opportunities that sometimes come down through the corporate entity." Yeah.
So your goals, it's like your goal setting without even realizing, in a way, isn't it? You're setting targets within yourself. Yeah.
Yes, it's about having ambition. Yeah. But it's also about trying to
It's a growth indicator.
Trying to realize what the environment is around you, and then understanding how you navigate that environment. Don't go in blind. Don't stay blind. Try and figure out what the game is. To put it in a different way. Yeah, it's everything. I look at life like a bit of a game in some respects, not in all respects, but there's a way that you can do things in a good, honest way and achieve. But there's also a way where if you're closing your eyes and you're just trying to achieve, but you don't know how to achieve, you're doing the best that you can, but it's not in the right way.
The best and stuff.
Yeah, you may not get that far. You're not really going to then utilize your full potential. So it's a bit of both. It's not luck. It's not. Some people rely on luck, right? It's not luck. It's about identifying what is it that I need to do that will actually help me to get to the next step of finding out what that is. So I applied for a job to be, what do they call it? A flying squad member to turn around failing stores in America. I applied for it. I got it. Went to America for 2 months, helping to turn around a store in New York and then another one in Texas. And oh my gosh, that was amazing, right? If you don't go for opportunities, you don't know what you don't know. And then from there on, how do you utilize those opportunities to take you to the next step? Okay, so I was applying. I used to be a manager at 16 by fluke. And I was applying. I wanted to be a manager again when I got married. So I finished university in October of 2014 and I was getting married in August of 2015. So I had 9 months, 10 months to turn into a manager to meet my own personal goal of becoming a manager by the time I got married. So it's a case of how do I do that? I applied for jobs, couldn't get it. What experience do I have as a manager? Once when I was 16, and even then people might raise their eyebrow. So how do I do it? When I went to America, acting as a manager, I thought now's my opportunity. If I apply for a management position now, internally, this is the best opportunity I'm going to get to become a manager because I'm already proving it. I'm already out there. I'm doing it. I'm doing something that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do, right? And you have to understand how to apply for a job and read the specification of the job role. Yeah, the key of trying to get an interview is utilize the language that's in the job description in your application. Demonstrate the skills that they're looking for. Again, going back to people being risk averse, they want to hire someone or talk to someone who they believe is what they're looking for. Yeah, and they can just do the job. Companies don't really want to train you. They just need you to come in and hit the floor running. So that's what I did. And I managed to get the job as a manager of a UK store because I went to America, because I went for that interview as a supervisor after starting as a sales assistant, just because I believed in myself and I was bold and audacious and still respectful and still networking. So it's really interesting how things work. And then from there, going into your question there, when I realized as a retail manager, you have to work weekends. Yeah. And the salary isn't very good, unfortunately, in retail management. And I was now married. I was working, I think 5 to 6 days a week with taking home stress. I was becoming very stressed in that environment. And I wasn't really spending good quality time with my family. I then decided that retail wasn't the place where I could grow. I could be the husband I wanted to be, and if I was blessed by God to become a dad, the dad that I wanted to be, because I wouldn't be able to see my future children on weekends or spend time with them. It's different having a day off on a Tuesday when your family are at work and then you're home alone and then you don't get to see or interact with anyone. It's really different. So I realized I needed to get back into a conventional 9-to-5 working pattern. So I left retail. I left retail without a job to get into. This was really interesting. So as a newly married man, I spent 4 months out of employment, living at my parents' house. Me and my wife decided to stay at my parents' house before moving into our own house. So I was at home for 4 months, looking for a job. And it's interesting how that is not a very easy thing to do in a marriage in a marriage. To be dependent on your spouse, for one spouse to support the other one so soon after marriage, it's a very hard situation to be in. And it takes a lot of patience and understanding, and also some what I had to demonstrate at the time to my wife was that I was actively looking, and I had to step it up even more, whereby I wasn't just actively looking and applying, I was going above and beyond. And the way I went above and beyond in applying for jobs, which had a funny outcome actually, was that I downloaded all of the apps, right? And the apps that I absolutely loved were apps like Monster. You find a job, you swipe, you've applied.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love those ones. The apps I don't like, you find a job you like, you click apply, you get taken to a big form on a website, you spend an hour filling out a form, you send off for it, and then you don't get it.
It's like a database, isn't it? Basically,
it's horrible because
you're just a number on a
you're
spreadsheet.
playing law of averages.
Yeah.
So it's about how many. Yes, it's about the quality of applications, as I alluded to earlier. Job description, answer the job description to try and get an interview, but it's also about playing the law of averages. It's also, which is something I learned as a skill, which I haven't talked about, but I won't. But that's all you need to know. Yeah, kind of. So it's about applying to as many jobs as you can, saying, this is who I am. If you want me, please get in touch. So I did that, right? And I got 2 approaches. I got one approach from Walsall Council as admin, business support officer. I got another approach from Birmingham University to be a bar supervisor. And I thought, oh, okay. You normal thing to do when when you're looking for a job is have multiple interviews. And then most of the time you only get the one offer. You might have 2 offers. You might have to choose between the 2.
Keep options open.
You have to keep your option open, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So I received an offer from both. And then I looked at the offers and I thought, this is 9 to 5 and this is 7 till 3 in the morning, or those kinds of hours. And I thought, I can do both. I can do a 9 to 5 and then do a nighttime job, a 7 to 3. Why not? And then, it's not easy. There's the quick glint into what happened there. Spoke to my wife about it, and we thought this would be a great opportunity to save up for a house. So how did I become a homeowner? Well, my wife worked her 9 to 5 job, and I woke up at 6 in the morning. I think I got to my day job for 8, finished my day job at 5, I want to say, drove from Walsall all the way to Birmingham University in Edgbaston, started work at, I think, 7, finished at 2 or 3, drove back home, or maybe 1 to 2, drove back home, caught up with my wife if she was still awake, passed out, woke up a few hours later and did the same thing. And I could only manage it for 7 months. I was burnt out.
Even 7 months is pretty impressive. I mean,
it takes its toll on you. When you're young, they say when you're young, you can do lots of different things. Yeah. You can get away with this in terms of your health.
Yeah.
To some extent, that is true. It's easier, but we can't escape being burnt out. We can't escape being overworked.
No.
Should you do it? When is the right time to do it? That's up to you, ultimately, depending on your situation. But you've got to always remember that you got to have something in your back pocket to look after yourself if you find yourself in a not a good position of health.
Yeah. Your body gives you signs, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's telling you something for a reason.
Body could give you signs, and what you don't realize is, Z-tip number 5. I will go into another Z-tip. Everything we do affects the people around us. We often think that the choices we make and the life decisions we make and how we live our life only affects us. Not true whatsoever. Whatever we do affects our loved ones around us, and not only our loved ones, but our friends around us too. Which now is a long-winded way of getting to what Zoheb was talking about. How do you then, in the break, I think, how do you then manage your life around your work? Okay. So when you're working, it's hard, and you're married, it's hard enough to see your friends or to spend time with your family even. How do you then do that at that stage? And then how do you even do that when you have children? So the answer is sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes when you're married and you want to see your friends, you try and have your spouse get along with your friends, and you try and unify that group. You try and share time together. Doesn't always work out, but when it does, great. But when it doesn't work out, that's fine, because it's also what I've learned is that it's also important for you to have one-on-one time with your friends. It's good for your health. It's good for your camaraderie. It's good for many different reasons. But also, as you grow through life, you realize which friends are actually your friends, because they're more interested in, are they interested in more in themselves, or are they interested in you? Do they want to be there for you and help you, or do they want you to be there for them and help them? Yeah. And some friends bring you down. So as you grow older, and time is more precious, you do look at friendships a bit differently, and you think, this friend, can I see them? How often can I see them? When I see them, what will it be like? And then when you have children, and in the first year or two of you having a child, your child is really dependent on you, and your spouse is dependent on you, because you have to get through it together as a team. You have to figure it out. You have to figure out parenting. You have to figure out how to keep a human being alive. It's fine, I think, personally, if you can't see your friends at that time, because you're trying to keep a human alive. You're trying to keep your spouse alive at the same time and sane. It's hard. And I think your friends and your family understand. And if they don't understand, you can help them to understand. And if they still don't understand, might be a conversation to be had there. But when they do understand, they'll still be there the year after, or the year after that, when you're ready and you've got a little bit of time to meet up, or to be able to make some time for them.
Yeah.
And I think with my relationship with Mr. Zo over here, we've become very busy. We don't see each other that often, but when we do see each other, it's like we've seen each other just yesterday, and we just pick up where we left off. And I'm blessed to have you as a friend, Zo.
Wow, that's really touching, honestly. Do you know what I mean? And I'm gonna cry. No, but I think it's. I think everything you've said there it's really interesting about your own journey, and also the fact that, and we've had this. It's a recurring theme on the show where people talk about not making enough time for ourselves, and the fact that we can get caught up in the day-to-day activities and what we do every day and everything, but we never actually just sit back and think, you know what, I'm going to have a day for myself, or I'm going to have a week where I'm not going to do anything other than just what I'm meant to do in order to just unwind and reset myself, or whatever it is. And it's, I think it's really important what you just shared there around making time for yourself and for others, but make time for the people who don't just want something from you, you know. And I love what you said there about like having friends who, you know, are they friends for themselves or friends for you? And it's a really kind of it does make you think, doesn't it? You know, about the circles that we form amongst ourselves and the communities even that we're part of, you know. And I think thankfully the kind of, I suppose, our upbringing and who we surrounded ourselves around, it helped us. I have to say that, you know. And I think the fact that we've got people who we know, not just ourselves, but 20, 24, 25 years of friendship with these people. They've all been there as supporters, as people who want us to do well, you know. And they've, even now, like I put something out on social media, it's people from school who will see it, and they'll message me and say, "Oh, I didn't know you did this now," but they're watching you, and they're seeing that journey. And that journey, I think, is really important. You know, what we're actually striving to be. Now, it's a shame really that I'm saying this, but because of the length of this show, you know, we're going to have to bring it to a close. But before we do, I know I'm so sorry, honestly. I'm so sorry. You know, I'd love for this show to go on even more, but we'll bring you back at some stage, honestly, because I think people would be interested for a part 2. If you want a part 2, vote, by the way. So I'll put this on a social media poll or something. If you want Satish back for a part,
for your next prime minister. I'll sort the country out.
If you want it back for a part 2, please do vote. I'll bring it back anyway. Actually, you don't need to vote, but I'll still put a vote out there anyway.
It's all fixed. I knew it.
Yeah, see, you know what I mean? It's all, there was always an agenda. It's part of the plan. You know, there you go. I made notes, but before we leave, actually, you've given so much wisdom already, but final thoughts, closing comments. Is there anything that you want to leave our listeners and viewers with?
My parting Z-tip number 6 would be enjoy your life as much as you can. Enjoy it. Enjoy everything about it. Life is a roller coaster, as Zoe said, his dad mentioned, I think it was in the break actually. Take the rough with the smooth. Everything has ups and downs. Just enjoy it, because this is life. It's beautiful. It's just perspective. Don't let the perspective take control of you. You take control of the perspective.
There you go. Every episode always has this sort of this quote, or like a really a really poignant sort of quote that that people make, and I think that's our one for today. So yeah, and if that wasn't something that left you with something thought provoking, I don't know what will. But I don't even know what to say, honestly. I think it's been such a good show. Honestly, I think it's been absolutely
I know what
brilliant.
to say.
Yeah.
Excuse me. ये दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे तुम मगर. I don't know the rest of the words. So.
I don't know, honestly. I don't know. Yeah,
in English now.
Great song. Yeah.
This friendship, I will never break this friendship. And that's where I forgot the words after that.
Good thing it's an Islamic Asian radio station. But if anyone is watching it, like I said, please do look at the song. It's absolutely amazing. But honestly, it's been so nice.
One more thing. You got to do this with me. You remember that gift that I sent you earlier on today?
Yeah.
So, let's do it.
Right. So Satish asked me earlier on if he could wear a hat on the show. And initially I was like, you know what? I'd rather you just come as you are. Like, don't wear a hat. Just be yourself. There's no need for a hat. But you know what? We'll allow it. It's the end of the show.
You see that skin fade there and the no beard? I got rid of all my grades. My grays.
Yeah, grays,
That's why I did it.
So there we go.
But our parting gift to you listeners is a favorite quote of ours from when we were growing up, and a favorite TV show that we both had called Goodness Gracious Me.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And there's two young boys akin to ourselves, and they used to say, Rasmalai.
And if anyone's watching Goodness Gracious Me, please do check it out. I'm sure some of our listeners will have been familiar with it, but please do check it out. But what can I say? Honestly, it's been absolutely amazing having you on, man. Honestly, it's been absolutely amazing. We've talked about so much. I do think we'll come back for another episode at some point, because there's so many other things that we haven't even touched on. There are so many things that we can still bring up and talk about, and some of the other challenges that we might have faced and stuff. But that is the end of the show, ladies and gents. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel already, please do right now to the animated button you can see there, or to the left of the window. And as I said, do keep following us on Unity FM as well. I'm blessed to have this studio as an opportunity to record this podcast. So I do want to thank everyone who's on my team at the radio station. And like I said, we'll be back next week with another episode. And if you see on the end card now, look at our previous videos and subscribe and keep following us on the ZoShow. Thank you very much.